Good morning, everybody. It's the last day of July 31st, 2014, and this is before the first cup with Lady Pitbull. And guess what? I've got a guest with me, and it's Solvener from the Solvener event. So, welcome.
Hey!
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you for being on with me this morning.
That's okay. I'm glad to help.
Oh, you're awesome. Jules has got an appointment this morning, so she won't be here today, and that's okay. And Zori is still with her mom, so that's all. We'll just wing it here and plow right through this thing, man. That's awesome.
How's the weather over there?
It's absolutely pristinely beautiful. It's my thermometer went out. I changed the batteries in it yesterday, so I think it's 68 degrees right now, and it's sunny and beautiful, and it's just there's low humidity, and it's just been the most perfect summer of like my whole memory.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful. The growing season, it's like a bumper crop. I always say this, but it's just wonderful here. How is it there? What's it like there?
It's very hot. It's so hot that I didn't even put my rabbit outside because he can't stand the heat.
So you're in the Netherlands, yeah?
Yeah.
Sweet. So hot meaning like, you guys are in Celsius, so.
In Celsius?
Yeah, that's why you guys use the other method. We here in
Celsius.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here in the States, we do the Fahrenheit thing, and you guys do the Celsius. What would be the temperature there in Celsius?
Inside, it's about 25 Celsius. Outside, and that's also because I'm on the south, and there's hardly any wind here due to the buildings. It's above 30, I would guess.
So you have a rain deficit then?
It hasn't been raining much, but I haven't heard of any droughts. So.
Oh, that's good. And so all of Europe is like that?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow. Has it been hot for a long period of time there?
We had a wonderful summer. It was only a few days rain. And, except for the chemtrails, we had a reasonable sky. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's good. That's good. At least it's not been oppressive like it has been in California with the drought there.
Yeah, we had that a couple of years ago, and it astonished me that the government even prohibited the farmers from using water. I was like, huh?
Wow.
Why would you do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's quite, that's alarming, actually. My goodness. They're not doing that now, though.
No, not as far as I know.
Good.
And I think they should never do that. I mean, the water here in the Netherlands, because lots of the land is below sea level, it just comes pouring through the ground, You don't even have to use a pump sometimes.
Oh, my goodness.
So, we got lots of groundwater, and that should be going to the farmers if there is a water shortage, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. That's a big thing. That's to restrict that to the farmers. I don't know. That's like, you know what that's like? That's like what they're doing in California. They're watering their golf courses, but not letting anybody else have water. They're restricting everyone else's water. So, especially when Obama comes. It is. Especially when Obama comes, they've got to water that golf course, but nobody else can have water there. Everybody else is restricted, so.
Yeah.
Crazy. Absolutely.
So, anyway, people, if you go to ucy.tv, ucy.tv, that's 3 letters and then .tv, but UCY, that is UCY, right?
Yes.
And if you mouse over shows, click on any of them. At the moment we are in before the first cup, and there's already some people in the chat. Welcome, Jimmy from Boiler Room Radio.
Yay!
Also on UCY. Jacqueline, the mom from JJ, both are there. and Joe, and Lady, that's you, and Matty Clues, and Cap, and me. Welcome, everybody.
Wow, a whole 9 people, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I guess it's a bit early. You know, the West Coast is still sleeping, right?
Yes, I'd say, let's see, 9, 8, 7, 6, yeah, around 6 or 5 there, I think.
Yeah.
So when Zori does come on, it's 5 in the morning every time for her. Wow. Oh my goodness.
That's way too early for me.
Yeah, me too. I might as well just go ahead and tell this story.
Sure.
Happened to me last night. I don't know if this dude is listening. Probably not, from what I did. But he's just, this guy is my best friend's husband. It's his cousin. And he's kind of a pervert, and he doesn't know how to treat women very well.
Oh my god.
And he just kept messing with me last night, and he wouldn't stop it. And I mean, he really like got to the edge there where I actually had to warn him that, you know, this is your last warning. You stop doing what you're doing right now, or I'm just gonna have to like take you down right here and right now. You know what I mean? And then his cousin, you know, whose house it was like, you better not mess with her. You better listen to her because she takes self-defense classes. And I was ready to make him eat that thing he was messing with me with, and he wouldn't stop. So then he stopped, and then he left. So that was good. I almost decked the dude, honest. I was like inches away from it. So I had to tell that story. I almost got to use my self-defense last night. So, so I don't know. I'm kind of proud of myself because I really feel like I don't have to rely on anybody else to protect me. I can finally protect myself, which is a really, really good thing. Before I started taking these classes, I didn't even know how to throw a punch before. Now I do, and don't mess with me.
Yeah.
So, and it's going to really help tremendously if things fall apart here, or the lights go out, or if I'm on the street and somebody comes up behind me, or whatever. I'm going to be able to get out of that. So I'm very, very pleased at myself.
Nice.
It is. It's a good thing. It's good. It's a good thing not to have to rely on other people to, you know, keep you safe.
Yeah. They'll be too late anyway. So.
It is. Yes, it is.
That's here in the Netherlands, that is. If you want to rely on the police to help you, forget it. You know, they'll always be too late.
Same thing here. Same thing here. And I live pretty close to Detroit, and that's like status quo as far as the police go in Detroit. I mean, sometimes they'll take, you know, a couple hours, unless it's shooting, you know. Yeah.
Did you hear about those sensors that are supposed to pick up shootings?
No, I didn't hear about those.
Yeah, I must have got that from another network. They were installing, I guess it was in Britain then, they were installing sensors, sound sensors, and they would pick up bangs and things like that, you know, against guns, because, you know, in Britain and most of the countries of the Europe, you're not allowed to own a gun.
Yeah.
And so they claimed that it would differentiate between fireworks and a bang from a car crash or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And they had it installed for like 2 years, and they had like 1,600 alarms going off, but only 2 of them had to do with guns.
That is funny.
So that didn't work, you know.
That's an epic fail.
Yeah, it's an epic fail.
Wow, that's weird how they would be able to distinguish like a backfire from a motor.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times backfires sound like guns too.
Yes, Anon says in the chat, it's called Shot Spotter. That's correct.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And he spells your name wrong.
No, he spells it correctly, actually.
Oh, he doesn't spell it correctly.
That's Dutch.
Oh! Hey, right on, Hammy. That's Hammy, actually, by the way.
Yeah. So, and the problem I have with that whole system is that, if it's supposed to monitor those sounds, you can't tell me that it's disabled when there is no bang. That doesn't work. You have to be monitoring all sounds and then distinguish between the different sounds you get.
That's right.
So it's like a listening device, isn't it?
Sure, absolutely. And I know they've got listening devices like on the streets in New York City. I know they have.
Oh, they do?
Oh, yeah. They've got them like scattered around this country. Sound devices and light lamp posts and things like that. I know. Huh. So, but that shot spotter thing is very, very interesting. I don't know. I didn't realize that it can actually distinguish between what, like a backfire and a gunshot.
Yeah.
Interesting. So.
Yeah, the advertisement that they made, as Ham points out very, very well, is that they put these microphones all over the place, right? Mm-hmm. And if you have a shot going off, then the sound takes a certain amount of time to reach each microphone. And then they triangulate where the bang is coming from, so the police can go straight to the spot where it happened, you see?
Interesting. And because no one's allowed to have guns in Britain, I could see where they would be, get their feathers all rumpled up because of that. Wow, that's interesting. Very interesting. And then Jimmy says it's a combination of mics and pressure sensors and computers, so that makes sense.
Yeah, they seem to be linked to some computer. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. That's really interesting. So were they just kind of testing that out in Britain, or were they making that part of their
Yeah, they were testing it out. So the test period of 2 years had passed. And it failed, right? So they said, well, we don't need this, right?
Yeah.
But then the company came back and said, well, we now have 10 times more computer power, and this is going to work, Right.
Yeah, right, exactly. So why don't you spend a bunch of more money with us and, have another 2-year study. Sure. Yeah. And then they'll only get 1 and 2 years next. I don't know. This police state, I think, is going to backfire right on them. Because a friend of mine pointed out to me, we were talking about tech and technology and all this stuff, and he brought out like a stack of Popular Mechanics, and he threw it on this table, and he's like, you know what, not even 5% of this stuff they have implemented. And I was like, wow, I don't know if that's necessarily true or not, but I mean, they come out with all these bright ideas, and they don't implement not even a quarter of it. So, I don't know. It's it just seems like all this stuff is going to hopefully come up and bite these people right on the rear end.
Yeah, I'm not so fond of all that technology, to be honest with you. It sounds like a technocracy.
It is. And we talk about that all the time on this show. Jules absolutely is on top of all that. So I just hope that it backfires on him, and just like that shot spotter did. I hope it all kind of goes down just like that.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah, and I hope that that giant building in Utah that the NSA has is going to overheat and melt in on itself. That's what I hope. Absolutely. I don't know. So, anything interesting going on in your neck of the woods there?
Well, I don't follow the news.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't. It could be for my radio also, because I think there's enough shows out there that do the news. But I did bookmark some things.
Oh, very good.
Now, where did it go? Here's one. Thanks to Jimmy from Boiler Room.
Oh, very good.
We got this links to do with Ebola. You want to hear this?
Yeah, I've got a ton of Ebola news up here in my thing. Yeah, sure, let's hear it.
All right. So it says the U.S. this is from thedailysheeple.com. The U.S. is quietly establishing Ebola quarantine centers. Most border crossings in Liberia, located in West Africa, have been closed and communities hit by an Ebola outbreak face quarantine to try to halt the spread of the virus. The symptoms include high fever, bleeding, central nervous system damage. Fatality rates can reach 90% and the incubation period is 2 to 21 days. And there is no vaccine or cure. This is from the CDC, Center for Disease Control, right?
Yes.
How it all begins, it says. United States aid worker Nancy Wright-Ball, a missionary sent by the Calvary Church in North Carolina, became the second American citizen to contract Ebola. All right, so I've heard also that there was this doctor that treated these patients that got Ebola. You know, shouldn't these people, you know, like be so knowledgeable that they don't attract it themselves?
You would think so.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, did Ebola change its tactics or what's going on here, you know?
It may have mutated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Previously, Dr. Kent Brantley, a doctor also working at the Ebola clinic in the capital of Liberia, Monrovia, had previously, that's 2 times previously, been infected with the deadly Ebola virus while treating victims of the disease at a hospital in West Africa. Ebola is transmitted through bodily fluids, stated Tank Jasarevich, something like that, a spokesman for the WHO, said around 100 health workers had been infected by the Ebola in 3 countries. 100 health workers had been infected. Wow.
Wow.
The virus has now killed 660 people across Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone since the outbreak began nearly 6 months ago. Ebola has a mortality of approximately 90% and overwhelms the healthcare system of the communities in which it appears. The past week has seen Ebola infecting key medical staff in Sierra Leone. A deadly Middle East virus became airborne and the whole city in China put on lockdown for fear of a bubonic plague. So this is another virus that became airborne?
Yes. We read about that last week or perhaps the week before, the one in China, the bubonic plague, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So this city in China went on lockdown. What exactly is a lockdown, it says here. If a community is to stop Ebola, they must go into lockdown procedures. Lockdown procedures include the closing of the border to a present non-infected nation. And then it says about the map below, which of course, you can't speak. Why are we admitting people to the US who are coming from a region with a live Ebola outbreak? Presently, Ebola is not being tested for at the US border. Both Dr. Jane Orient, one of Arizona's top physicians, as well as other researchers, such as myself, have received information from Border Patrol informants that as many as 100,000 West Africans are being admitted to the United States under the same provisions that President Obama is presently admitting so-called unaccompanied minors. Yeah, they should be called illegal aliens, right?
Yes.
These people are from the same region of the world as the uncontained outbreak of Ebola, as Dr. Orient said in her interview on the Common Sense Show on June 30, 2014. It is not a matter of if Ebola comes into the United States, but when. Eek. Fortunately, the United States has detailed procedures to deal with a pandemic outbreak, and it carries the force of law under Section 361 of the Public Health Service Act. 42 U.S. Code, paragraph 264, the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services is authorized to take measures to prevent the entry and spread of communicable diseases from foreign countries into the United States and between states. The authority for carrying out these functions on a daily basis has been delegated to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. That's the CDC. The CDC utilizes two basic strategies when trying to contain a public outbreak of something as deadly as Ebola, and they are isolation and quarantine. Excuse me. Isolation is used to separate ill persons who have a communicable disease from those who are healthy. Isolation restricts the movements of ill persons to help stop the spread of certain diseases. For example, hospitals use isolation for patients with infectious tuberculosis. Quarantine is used to separate and restrict the movement of well persons who may have been exposed to a communicable disease to see if they become ill. These people may have been exposed to a disease and do not know it, or they may have the disease but do not show symptoms. Quarantine can also help limit the spread of communicable disease, says the CDC. Quarantine involves the creation of detainment facilities in which people who are suspected or are infected with the pathogen are forcibly detained and not allowed to leave. This statute also applies in the same manner as people who may be exposed. The United States is moving to establish quarantine centers. Even if there was not a present immigration crisis at the border, there is a significant outbreak of Ebola in a 7-country region of West Africa. With modern air travel, this government should be enacting protocols to limit the chance for Ebola from coming into the United States. Instead, President Obama is having ICE and DHS load up the buses and planes at taxpayers' expense, ship them throughout the United States without going through a minimum of a 3-week health screening period. That's the incubation period for Ebola. This is highly irresponsible and could be considered to be an act of treason being committed against the people of the United States. Under federally mandated quarantine procedures, here is what the CDC and President Obama are mandated to do in the present crisis. Here is what is supposed to happen as described by the CDC. The Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services has statutory responsibility for preventing the introduction, transmission and spread of communicable disease in the United States. Under its delegated authority, the Division of Global Migration and Quarantine works to fulfill this responsibility through a variety of activities including the operation of quarantine stations at ports of entry, establishment of standards for medical examination of persons destined for the United States, and administration of interstate and foreign quarantine regulations which govern the international and interstate movement of persons, animals and cargo. Instead, we are getting this type of Obama-led method of pandemic protection as described below. Ebola quarantine centers. Yesterday, Paul Watson opened a lot of eyes with the following statement. The source, an office clerk within the LADHS, said that during a policy meeting on the morning of June 18th last month, his superior announced that the Los Angeles County deputy, what's that? County dept of, what's that?
County deputy?
That dept is deputy?
Yeah, I think so.
What's a county deputy?
I think that's an interim county supervisor. You have to have. I think there's I'm not exactly sure, but believe it's like the second in line to like the supervisor in case the supervisor or mayor or whatever gets then they go to the deputy.
All right. So. His supervisor announced that the Los Angeles County Deputy of Health Services had struck a deal with the government to open up low-cost housing facilities for homeless people, otherwise known as FEMA camps. Oh, really? The source said that his supervisor ordered staff not to use the term FEMA camps. What? One look at who is behind this program should raise the eyebrows of every person, as it is being administered by the Department of Health Services. In an effort to respond to the high need for recuperative care services, Housing for Health will open a 38-bed recuperative care site in South LA this summer. The goal of recuperative care is to provide short-term housing with health oversight to homeless DHS patients who are recovering from an acute illness or injury or have conditions that would be exacerbated by living on the streets or in shelters. The site was renovated to serve patients with mobility impairments and provide wheelchair accessible community space indoors and in an open-air courtyard. The site will be operated by LAMP Community, a non-profit agency with over 25 years of experience providing services to homeless individuals. LAMP Community, L-A-M-P Community. Conclusion. At the time when city, state and federal budgets are stretched to infinity, we are supposed to believe that out of the goodness of their hearts, LA County is going to provide these kinds of services at this kind of expense to previously ignored homeless people? Does any of this make any sense given the economic state of the country? Paul Watson is calling these facilities FEMA camps. I agree with Paul and would also add that they are FEMA quarantine camps. This is the early preparation for what is coming. Cities across the country, from Tempe, Arizona, to Charleston, SC, I don't know what that is, are outlawing homeless people as it gives the government to quarantine these people. A clear pattern is emerging that we are soon going to see from California to South Carolina, that's probably SC, homeless people being quarantined, held against their will, for health reasons. The handling of the president and potential Ebola crisis speaks for itself. When there is trouble in America, who are you going to call? 30 years ago we called the Ghostbusters, which is a whole lot better than what is available now. That was it, Wendy.
Wow. That's pretty hardcore there. One of the questions I have about all that is how I can see like Honduras and Guatemala and people coming up from there through Mexico into this country. I can see that because there's a natural land bridge there from literally South America.
Mm-hmm.
There's land that comes all the way up to Canada and Alaska from South America. That's a natural land bridge. But how are people from Liberia and stuff getting over here? Because they have to cross the ocean to get over here. So I'm not sure how people from Africa are getting here without being either flown here or boated here or being paid for by perhaps our government to get here, to come in through the border? I mean, what is up with that? I'm curious about that question. And the other thing is that, yes, indeed, I agree with Paul Watson as well. They are going to establish these FEMA camps for health reasons, and they're also utilizing these FEMA camps to put all these illegals into, and then it's going to be used for a pandemic, and then when everybody refuses to get their shots and their vaccines that they'll come up with for the Ebola virus, you know, they'll come up with, oh, look, we've got a vaccine for that, you know. They always do that, and you have to go in through these FEMA camps in order to get your vaccine.
Yeah.
This is dangerous. This is dangerous, and it's happening now, and people aren't getting it.
Yeah. You want to do this one? I'll send you a link. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Just put it right here in the where we're at right now. Oh, did you drop off? I think you dropped. Nope, it still says you're connected.
Yeah, pressed the wrong button.
Oh, that's okay.
There you go.
All right. So let's see. Where did you put it?
In both windows.
Oh, very good. Oh, good. It's from N to Y, too. Let's see.
Yeah. Also, thanks to Jimmy, by the way.
Yes. All right. Oh, darn. My flash is preventing it from... I've got too many windows open.
Oh. Yeah, Flash is a bugger. Yeah, I use that as well, because you're kind of forced to, right?
Yes.
And then when I open some other program, the whole Flash crashes.
Yeah. Oh, that's just... Oh, there we go. Let's see here. Got it.
Is it working?
Certainly it did. Okay.
All right.
The EU is on high alert as Germany agrees to accept Ebola patients. And this is from And the Lie, which is a very, very trusted source here. With UCY, that's for sure. Let's see. A German hospital has agreed to treat Ebola patients amid widespread fears of a possible outbreak of the deadly disease in Europe. Over 670 people have already been killed by the disease in West Africa. I think that number is now over 700. It have already been killed by the disease in West Africa, and doctors struggling to control the epidemic. A German hospital in Hamburg agreed to accept patients following a request from the World Health Organization. How would you say that? Deutsche Welle? Is that
Deutsche Welle, yeah, that's
Deutsche
okay.
Welle. Very good. Hey. Doctors assure that the utmost precautions will be taken to make sure the disease does not spread during treatment. The patients will be kept in an isolation ward behind several airlocks, and doctors and nurses will wear bodysuits with their own oxygen supplies that will be burned every 3 hours. Wow. Okay, so
why are they using airlocks? My question.
Well, obviously, if it's only transmitted through bodily fluids, why would you? Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good question. If it hasn't mutated already, and okay, so I used to work in, and I'm going to hold off on reading this for a second.
Sure.
Just because I'm going to interject this, because I used to wear those suits before. I used to work in Mott Children's Hospital for 6 years, and they had these hazmat suits for patients that had either a highly communicable disease or they called it antibacterial resistance, where even breathing in their room could perhaps give them a disease because they were so immunocompromised that they could just if their body wasn't responding to any antibiotics, which made them antibiotic resistance in their immune system, and they could just catch anything so very easily and die.
Eek.
Yeah, so that's why, and they had these little fans, or like a little pack of like, I don't know, how would you describe that? A little box with like a fan on the back of the suit, and what it would do was pump clean air into the hood of this mask, and then then you would be able to breathe clean air and filtered air within the mask. And I had to don that thing several times because it was my job to go in there and take blood pressures in every room. And even to take a blood pressure, I would have to put this whole suit on. And they're very, very expensive. Very, very expensive suits. And I'm sure these are the bodysuits that they're talking about.
Yeah.
And so they're saying that these bodysuits are going to be burned every 3 hours. That's astronomical in price. To do that. So this is very alarming. I think the world is. I think this is really, really. I think we're in the middle of a major, major pandemic here, and I don't know how these little face masks are going to do a darn thing if there are doctors that have been wearing these suits getting exposed and getting sick and dying. So these little H9 masks that everybody else has access to, they're going to do a darn thing.
No, if 100 healthcare workers have already died from it.
Yeah, and they've all worn the suits. Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, this is very, very alarming. Anybody who's not paying attention needs to pay attention. All right, let me continue with this. This is German authorities were expecting the arrival of Sheikh Umar Khan, an Ebola expert who caught the disease while treating patients in Sierra Leone, but he died before he could be transported. Well, maybe that's a good thing. I can't believe they're going to be transporting these people. We were actually anticipating the patient's arrival over the weekend. Dr. Jonas Schmidt Chancet, head of the Viral Diagnostic Unit at Hamburg's Bernhard Nocht Institute, told German public broadcaster NDR. This latest outbreak of Ebola originated in Guinea in February and quickly spread to Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Nigeria, where the first case was reported last week. The disease has already claimed over 650, and we know 700 now, lives, and has prompted authorities in Europe to take measures to prevent its spread. British Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond will chair a meeting of the Cabinet Office briefing room. It says COBRA, Cabinet Office briefing room, on Wednesday to discuss the government's reaction to the outbreak of the deadly disease. And I read, I've got another Ebola story that says that Obama has been briefed as well. On Monday, a man was tested for the virus at a Birmingham airport following a flight from Nigeria via Paris. Nice. So the guy already went through Paris and went to England, apparently. The Department of Health later confirmed that the tests were negative and said the UK authorities were prepared to deal with the threat of Ebola. So that's really interesting, seeing that this thing has a 21-day incubation rate. So, of course, he's going to test negative if he just was exposed. And this is what we are seeing absolutely is this thing not being spread through just bodily fluids. This is being spread other ways as well now, because this is just very alarming. It says protecting the public from infectious diseases is a priority, and we lead the world in this field. We are well prepared to identify and deal with any potential cases of Ebola, the Department of Health official told reporters. In Hong Kong, a woman has been hospitalized with a suspected case of Ebola. Oh my, guys, here we go. According to reports from China Daily, the woman had recently returned home from a trip to Africa. So, you know what? I guarantee you that lady that has been hospitalized with the suspected case of Ebola didn't come into contact with anybody's bodily fluids. Okay? I mean, seriously. We're not being told how this thing is really being spread here, guys. In an effort to confine the spread of the disease, and the International Civil Aviation Organization will consult with the World Health Organization. Oh, this is really good. Until now, the virus had not impacted commercial aviation, but now we're affected. WHO Secretary General Raymond Benjamin told the media, referencing the death of a 40-year-old man who died of Ebola after traveling on Togo-based airline ASKY from Liberia to Nigeria via the Toglose capital of Lyon, or Lyon. We will have to act quickly, Benjamin said. We will consult with the WHO to see what types of measures should be put in place. The Ebola virus spreads through direct contact of bodily fluids, which is deadly in up to 90% of the cases. Some symptoms include fever, vomiting, and internal bleeding. But it sounds to me like this is no longer spread through bodily fluids, people. This is really a bad deal. This is a bad deal, and I, for one, am getting a little worried about it because this is spreading now. We see it in the East, over in Japan or wherever that lady was, and it's now in Europe, and it's now here. Here we go. Just buckle your seatbelts and get your hazmat suits if you don't have them.
Did you ever do research where this Ebola virus supposedly came from?
Well, it was obviously set loose upon the population in Africa. Sierra Leone, I think, was the first cases. Yeah.
But do you think it's a natural thing, or did it escape from some lab, or was it purposely put out by some lab, or what?
In my opinion, I don't know for a fact, and it's going to be really, really hard to prove this once this thing spreads all over the world. You know, I think as we've talked about many times on here, I think it was released, but that's just my personal opinion. I'm almost certain of it, and the WHO is just going to let it, you know, they're going to let it spread and let it spread and let it spread so it gets a firm hold in every single continent, apparently, and then they'll go into action when people start dying off.
Yeah, I asked this question because they also went, the scientists went to the North Pole, and there they found the ancient virus of the plague.
Yes.
And they revived that, you know. And I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Well, in their minds, they want to study it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But then we know the nefarious nature of these animals that are in positions of power, and they've said many, many times that they want to come back as a virus to wipe out 90% of the human race. So
yeah, some British royal, I don't remember his name.
It wasn't Prince Charles, it was his the father.
Psychopath.
Yeah, total psychopaths.
Or sociopath, whatever.
Well, both. That's exactly right. Both. These people are, they pulled the trigger now on this. And, nobody's going to really be able to do anything about this. And I believe that they're not telling us that this thing seems like it's already been mutated because, just the fact that they're putting them in airlocks, that they've got airlock rooms ready in the German hospitals, seems proof to me that this thing could be airborne.
I'm typing it into Google. Ebola mutated, if you get any news.
That's a good idea.
It says here, update, Ebola alert, Ebola mutated. From Edward DMD, WordPress.com, DailyMail.co, here, DailyMail.co. I'm not saying mainstream media links are valid, but at least you know what's being told to the masses of the people, right?
That's right.
You want me to read this?
Sure, if you want me to, I can, you can drop it right in there to me. It doesn't matter, you can if you like.
Okay, could Ebola virus now be airborne? It says here from dailymail.co.uk. New research shows lethal virus can be spread from pigs to monkeys without contact. Findings come as sources of Uganda's are isolated in latest outbreak. Untreatable virus causes internal bleeding and multiple organ failure, previously thought to be transmitted only by direct contact. Fears are growing that the most lethal form of the Ebola virus can mutate into an airborne pathogen, making the spread of the terrifying disease more difficult. This is 16 November 2012, so it's old, but, that only gives the virus more time to mutate,
That's right.
It was previously, it was previously thought the untreatable virus, which causes massive internal bleeding and multiple organ failure, could only be transmitted through contact with infected blood. But now Canadian researchers, which Canadian researchers, I would like to have names with that, but anyway, have carried out experiments showing how monkeys can catch the deadly disease from injected pigs without coming into direct contact. All right, so there again, it's like, why do these people do that? Why are you playing with deadly viruses? Our findings support the hypothesis that airborne transmission may contribute to spread, specifically from pigs to primates, and may need to be considered in assessing transmission from animals to humans in general, they said. The findings come as scores of people in Uganda were yesterday isolated to prevent the spread of a new Ebola outbreak that had already killed 3 in the country. Ebola caused fatal hemorrhage fevers in humans and many other species of non-human primates. It was first reported in 1976 in Congo and is named for the river where it was recognized. There is no cure or vaccine. The illness is characterized by fever, headache, joint and muscle aches, sore throat and weakness followed by another, vomiting and all of that. So, there is, I'm not going to read the rest of this though.
That's fine.
There is indeed worries about it being airborne, apparently.
Yeah, and that was, from 2012, huh?
Yep, that was from 2012.
See, so there we go, right there. I think we just pretty much answered the question.
That it's possible, at least, yeah.
At least it's possible. Absolutely, the possibility is there, and that's particularly dangerous. So, we've got goodness, we've got all these diseases that are coming into this country over the border. save Ebola and everything else, there's other diseases like tuberculosis and things of that nature coming in. So, and the spread of this stuff, it's just going to go like wildfire now. I don't know. I am afraid that that they've released the Kraken, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but if I were like in power or had authority, I would just hold all travel just right now. Don't care about the economic costs. This should be stopped. And need everybody to stand still.
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree with that. But then you're gonna have everybody, especially the airlines going, we can't have that because it'll take money out of our pocket, and it's all about the dollar. But I really honestly think that, and it was Prince Philip that said that he wanted to come back as a deadly virus. So,
okay.
I'm not sure if that's Prince Charles's dad. I think it is, though. Father.
All right, is that enough about Ebola? I'm getting sick of it.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine.
Did you ever look at like blood under a microscope?
No, I have never done that.
All right, I did, and it made me sick.
Ooh.
It really did. Your stomach went all crazy, and all the things creeping around in your blood. Ooh, that's creepy,
Wow.
Yeah.
What did it look like? Was it moving or?
yeah. It was a very good microscope. You could see the red blood cells.
Wow.
But I also saw like creepy things, like small animals in there, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Wow! I've never seen that before. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So little amoebas, right?
I don't know what they were, but I could only 1 minute, and I had enough of it. It just made my stomach turn upside down.
Oh boy! Yow! Not so good. Oh my goodness. Well, having the hospital experience that I have had in the past, I've kind of got developed a tolerance to seeing blood and things of that nature. So it's not so bad with me. I used to work when I was 19 years old. My mother got me a job at an emergency room at one of the major hospitals here, and the first day on the job, there was a terrible thunderstorm that rolled through like at 5 a.m. And then when I got to work there at 7:30, a tree had fell on the cab of a pickup truck, and the man was inside still, and he was trapped. They got him out, and it literally fell on his head. And through the course of the morning, while he was at the emergency room, his head swelled up like larger than his shoulders.
Ouch.
And they were trying to stop the swelling, and they were unsuccessful.
Yeah.
So I got to see that. That was my first day in the ER. I was seeing, and it was just horrible. It was the head. This guy's head was just. I couldn't believe. I didn't think a head could do that.
Yeah.
It was just awful. It was terrible. So that was my first day. My first.
Yikes!
I had to jump in with both feet on that one. The worst of it, though, was when babies passed away. That was the worst of it.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe that. Another time, there was a man that was on. I'm sure it was PCP. I'm positive. He was tied with 4-point leather restraints. That means that all of his limbs were tied down with leather locking restraints. Okay, he broke all of them. He broke a guy that was that strong breaking, and these are like at least half-inch thick leather, and just thick. and there were, I mean, I can't even believe it. And he broke all 4 of them, and it took like 6 guys to jump on this guy and hold him down and strap him back to the bed. It was nuts.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stories. Lots of stories. Geez, so, I mean, this is a big deal with the Ebola, and, I don't know. I know that there's a lot of other stuff happening.
Yeah, and the bad thing about it is that, we can't say, like, whoa, do this and do that, and you won't get Ebola, so that's creepy. Especially when you have the doctors with these hazmat suits still coming down with it. Yeah, that's very, very alarming. So I don't know. Maybe this is really the thing that's going to take out 90% of the human population of the whole entire world. They may have released the Kraken on us. I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not too. But it sounds like, and I'm not sure. I think that there's things on the internet where you can go to a certain website, a website that I don't know about right now. I think I saw it though. There's a pandemic website, and I think you can type in what disease, and I think it will show you the rate of spread throughout the world for that particular disease. Somebody dropped that in chat once. I remember that. So
yeah, that could be this one. I'll copy that and put it in the chat for everybody. I'm not quite sure if it is that one, but it came from Jules. By the way, the link that you read also came from Jules.
I think that's actually it. Thank you, Saul. That's awesome. Yes, I think this is exactly the site.
That's the one you mean?
Mm-hmm, I think so.
Yeah, you'd have to mess around with some settings, I guess. I don't know exactly how this site works.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's really, wow. It's all over the place. You can see where the Ebola is on that map, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Just rest your mouse over the green little radiological symbol there.
Oh yeah, in that biological hazard they call it, right?
Yeah, and you can see where it's spread. This is crazy. Yeah, that comes from the oh god, what's it called? It's where'd you find that?
This link?
Yeah, that was
Jules.
Jules' site. Which site is that?
I don't know. She just put it in chat someday.
Oh, she just put it. Oh, very good. Thank you. Let's see. I think it's on her FukushimaFacts.com. That's what I wanted.
Ah,
yes,
okay.
That is from Fukushima Facts, I believe.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get.
If you click on it, it says indeed short details.
Mm-hmm.
XYZ News can report that the blood sample from a 12-year-old girl has been sent to the Noguchi Memorial Institute for tests to confirm if Ghana had recorded its first case of Ebola. Yeah. Yep,
there you go. Yeah, that's a really useful map. That is the hazard map.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Let's see. Let's see here. So other stuff. I guess we'll get off the Ebola thing, even though this is like it's pretty much what we're going to be talking about. I have a feeling from now on, as it spreads.
Yeah, we should keep a daily watch on it for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. I'm just kind of looking through headlines here. Just to...
Sure.
Oh my gosh. Woman pull. I can just read these. It's interesting. Oh, I saw a pig mine video of
Yeah.
of Japanese troops conducting drills in the Hawaiian Islands.
Uh-huh.
And they were coming in by boat, and they were coming in by helicopter, and it shows them landing on the beach and conducting, like, ground drills in Hawaii. And I am wondering why they are doing that, and it occurred to me that perhaps they're doing that because the water around the island of Japan is completely irradiated. So they have to find somewhere else to go practice, somewhere else to go do their drills. I don't know. I don't know. Everything is going so far, so fast. It's amazing. And then there's another thing that's saying illegals were being shipped to Hawaii. So Hawaii is not even safe now from any of this. So it's not like you can go run to Hawaii and try to think you're going to be safe because they've completely compromised Hawaii. I don't know. Oh man, there's a rare strain of Lyme disease that's coming out. That's crazy. So I really, honestly, I think that they're releasing these things into the atmosphere. To be honest with you, I really think that it's a planned, who knows, in 6 months from right now, I mean, God knows. I mean, it could be chaos everywhere around the world.
Yeah.
You know? I'm not really looking forward to that.
Nope, me neither.
It's not a very good thing. Just want to
I was thinking of staying inside, but, that's not feasible, really.
It's not, is it?
Because I'm not a prepper, I don't have months of food stored. I only got some water stored.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, see, that's, it just kind of makes you think that, oh man, maybe I should have prepped for something like this.
Yeah, yes. We should have.
Yeah, I have, duct tape and plastic myself. I'm actually ready to bug in. I have the capability of doing that, but do I want to do that? No, I don't.
Yeah.
To be honest. I don't know. Oh, man. Let's see. Maybe here's a drone story. Drone stories are always good.
Pick that one.
17 hours ago. Now, there was a similar story, a couple of weeks ago. Similar story to this. It says drone carrying contraband crashes in a South Carolina prison. Columbia, South Carolina. This is from AP. A drone carrying cell phones, marijuana, and other contraband into a South Carolina maximum security prison never made it inside the 12-foot high razor wire fence. An authority said Wednesday they were looking for one of two people accused in connection to trying to sneak it in. The search has been ongoing since April 21st. Okay, I take that back then. This is the same case. This is just an update on that case, apparently. The search has been going on since April 21st when officials found a small crashed drone in the bushes outside the walls of Lee Correctional Institution in Bishopsville, according to the Department of Corrections spokeswoman Stephanie Givens. Okay, so this is basically a continuation of that incident happened in April. At the site, Givens said the officers also found materials that inmates aren't supposed to have, including phones, tobacco products, marijuana, and synthetic marijuana. Oh, nice. Give the prisoners bath salts. That's real nice. Oh my goodness. One person has been arrested. Alright, I'm not going to read that. That's ridiculous.
Alright.
Oh, let's see. I'm just kind of scraping. Everything's about Ebola. You know
Oh.
what I mean? Everything on these news sites is about Ebola.
I got one here on MH17, July 30th.
Sure.
All right, on July 30th, a German pilot headlined at Anderwelt Online, shocking analysis of the shooting down of Malaysian MH17. And he provided the first public analysis of the photos that were available immediately after the disaster of the plane's cockpit and of a wing. Google removed the photos soon after they were first available, but pilot Peter Hysenko had fortunately screen-saved them and now shows them on that site. After having carefully analyzed and made sense of what they show, he says, "The fact speaks clear and loud and are beyond the realm of speculation. The cockpit shows traces of shelling. You can see the entry and exit holes, and they're unmistakably in the accompanying photo. This aircraft was not hit by a missile, and it was not hit in a central portion of the airplane. The destruction that explains the way the entire wreckage was spread out is limited to the cockpit area, as he explains. A typical Su-25, which is a Ukraine plane, a pair of planes that accompanied the Malaysian jet into the conflict area, is equipped with a double-buried 30mm gun type GSH-302, carrying a 250-round magazine of anti-tank incendiary shells and splinter explosive shells, which are designed to penetrate the solid armor of a tank, and which rip to shreds the cockpit area on both sides of the plane. The cockpit of the MH017 had evidently been fired at from both sides. The entry and exit holes are found on the same fragment of the cockpit, so that there had been, so that there had to have been 2 Su-25s and not merely one, which were escorting that plane into the rebel area. Isn't that what Putin said, like Monday, a week ago or so?
Yes, it certainly is. This is interesting.
This type of shelling will cause massive explosions inside the cockpit due to the shocking change of air pressure, so that the rear sections broke in mid-air at the weaker points of construction, most likely under extreme internal air pressure. The images of the widely scattered field of debris and the brutally damaged segment of cockpit fit like hand in glove. Both the high-resolution photo of the fragment of bullet-riddled cockpit as well as the segment of bullet-grazed wing have in the meantime disappeared from Google Images. Nonetheless, the shelling of the cockpit of Air Malaysia MH107 is definitely not speculative. Alright, so I'm going to name this website again, so that people can check it for themselves. Apparently he has this on his website, screen-saved pictures. It's Anderwelt Online. It's ANDERWELT online.
Could you drop that in the chat?
Let's see. Open that. Alright. Copy this.
Thank you.
Put it in the chat. There we go.
Oh, thank you so much.
No problem.
Wonderful. I'm going to have to really read that because, that's in Dutch, but that's okay.
Oh, that's in Dutch. Oh, really? Well, maybe I can translate some of that after this article.
That's interesting, though. I mean, because they, that plane was not shot down, by Russian rebels. You know what I mean? That's obvious.
All right, it's German anyway, but...
Oh, okay.
Doesn't matter, I speak German also.
Oh, very good.
Hysenko, according to the Anderwelt website, was born in 1952 in Munich, trained at the Lufthansa flight school, and piloted for 30 years numerous different plane types. In addition, he has been a respected published investigative journalist and historian, including the favorably reviewed 2010 book, England, the Germans and the Jews in the 20th century. Interesting. So he has experience not just in piloting, but also in investigative journalism and historical writing. Unless the photos that he captures on his computer were faked by him, and they look like they're off that wreckage field, the United States and the Ukraine governments have been lying about how the Malaysian airliner was destroyed. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. If those photos are authentic, then they are the most virginal, undoctored and unhandled evidence relating to reconstructing what brought this airliner down. This isn't necessarily to say that the economic sanctions that the US and EU have placed against Russia are necessarily based on lies, but it is to say that unless Mr. Hysenko has perpetrated a fraud, the US and the EU have. Right now, it's his evidence against their evidence at a time when their evidence has been widely challenged as being non-credible. Yeah, especially since all of these different sources come up with different stories, right?
Exactly.
Perhaps Hysenko isn't, but certainly the imposition of the anti-Russian sanctions on the basis of the evidence that has been offered to justify them is scandalous in itself. Yeah, the European Union is also making sanctions against the Russians, trying to instigate economic warfare. Okay, that's really stupid. I mean, we get our energy from Russia, you know?
Yeah, that's very stupid. That's incredibly stupid.
All right, so is there any pictures? Oh, there's no picture on this link that I gave. Maybe on the front page.
What I'm wondering is, especially since you're in the Netherlands there,
yeah.
What I've been wondering is, have you been hearing of family members at all not able to identify their loved ones that went down in the crash?
Yeah, well, I did. I tried looking every day for more news about MH17. I did it yesterday for the last time. Mm-hmm. And the only links that were available for me were like 4 or 5 days old.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of got stuck, I guess. And,
yeah. But being there, like in that country, you should maybe have heard something through some kind of a grapevine that this isn't our loved ones or whatever,
nope,
right?
Never heard. No, never. Didn't hear anything about that. And believe me, there are enough Dutch alternative websites that would have reported this if this were the case.
Yeah, so that was definitely one of my questions. So that
because you got to wonder about these reports that say that there were decaying bodies.
Yeah.
Found.
Yes, that was my question.
What the heck is that? You know?
Yeah, that is my ooh. Hey, I just that's the cockpit, huh?
Yep.
Oh my, that's pretty amazing. Those pictures right there. You just posted those in chat, and
yeah,
my
that
goodness.
looks pretty bullet ridden indeed, doesn't it?
It does. That's not like one missile, explosion. That looks like shrapnel.
Uh-huh.
That's interesting. Wow. So, if I had a loved one, that was supposed to be on that plane, I would definitely wanting to be knowing more about this thing.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything from any family people.
Boy, is that amazing.
So, yeah, I'm not saying that it is, but that it is, quote-unquote, staged. But we had this enormous row of cars going by with supposedly the remains of the dead people in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying it's staged, but I've also not heard of any of the family members coming out and saying, well, I'm very sad and all of that,
Yeah, because you would think that if you had a family member, you would want to know what happened. You would want to know how it happened, why it happened. You would want to know everything you can get your hands on about it.
Yep.
And, maybe that is happening with some people, but there's just the whole thing just stinks to highlight me. I mean,
the last news I had about that kind of more or less is like the Dutch police went there, but they weren't able to enter the area because there is a war going on over there.
Yeah.
So the investigation is kind of stuck,
Yeah, that's a nice convenient excuse.
Mm.
I really believe that the U.S. and the EU had everything to do with it.
Yeah, and also because this investigative journalist does not mention, as far as I can tell anyway, that this is supposed to be the other plane that disappeared 4 months ago, right?
Yes.
I would say that this is not the case then, right? Because he, according to his photos, they wouldn't be matched, right?
That's right. That's right. So that little rumor could be laid to rest. In other words,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. So
I also tried to find confirmance. What do you call that? Confirmation.
Confirmation. Yes.
Yeah, of the MH17 actually departing from Amsterdam, but I couldn't find that. So
really?
That doesn't mean it didn't happen, though.
Sure.
Yeah, I just couldn't find it. That's
interesting. Wow.
All right, so here, let me paste this link in the chat where you can actually see more of the pictures.
Oh, neat. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. And it's a German site, so, you'd have to probably, if you want to read the text, use something like Google Translate, which is very bad. But,
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. The pictures, you can see where it was on both sides of that fuselage there that got hit from either side of the plane, right?
I don't know. I only see one big hole, but if he says there were two, I trust him.
Yeah, well, I mean, he obviously has the pictures to prove stuff, so that's quite alarming. It's not just one, in other words, it totally shatters their story of just, a ground-fired missile being fired into the jet. That completely, these pictures in and of itself shoots that supposition down, and that's like the mainstream media's story that they're holding on with the white knuckles,
Yeah.
So
he's saying here that this picture of the fuselage with the red on it is in the neighborhood of the cockpit, and he says that there is no question. These are shot beschuss. That's bullet fire.
Yes, shrapnel.
Okay, that's what shrapnel is. Okay, I didn't know that.
Shrapnel is like you have your projectile, which is a bullet, and then like if you have a bomb or something like that, you'll have pieces of chunks of metal within the bomb or whatever that shoots out and creates a wide kill radius. So the shrapnel spreads out. And, so there's a wider range there.
Yeah.
And this definitely, clearly, these pictures clearly show that.
The two beneath them also, it looks like bullet holes, doesn't it?
It does. And, I mean, because if it was just a missile, a single missile, like from a ground-fire, shoulder-fired rocket, the way they're claiming, then you would only have a single hole. Not a spread pattern, and clearly the spread pattern on this is you can see holes straight through the metal onto the other side. So yeah, this is clearly something else going on here. So, wow.
All right. That was that for MH17, as far as I'm concerned, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, really, if I had loved ones there, I'd be very, very up in arms right now. I'd be beside myself.
There's also an English version.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They translated it for you guys.
Wonderful! Hey, that's wonderful. Look at that. Fantastic.
Underwelt online. Underwelt means different world. That's German.
Oh, very good. Different world online. All right. Well, thank you for that. That's important. I'm gonna read up more about this because I'm sure. I believe I'm gonna have Brandon Turbeville on tomorrow, and he really has been researching this stuff. So if I can give him this link. Yeah.
You got Brandon on tomorrow.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Very nice.
I'm excited. So this is definitely, I definitely thank you for that, because I think he'll be very interested to hear this, or to see this part here. Because the pictures say 1,000 words, let me tell you. Can't really argue with that. So that's very interesting. Thank you for posting that.
No problem.
Wonderful.
You got another story, or?
Well, let's see.
Maybe this one. It's kind of like what all the people are talking about.
Yeah. Let's see. Somebody messaged me. Oh, it was you.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
From Blacklisted News.
Very good.
Don't know if you want to do that one. But...
Yeah, I'll do that one. Let's see. U.S. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is the kind of stuff that really gets under my skin, too. U.S. restocks Israel's ammunition supplies hours after condemning attack on a UN school in Gaza. So, here we go with the Hegelian dialectic again, guys. Supporting both sides to the argument here. You gotta love that Hegel. Alright, the United States confirmed that it has restocked Israel's supplies of ammunition hours after issuing a strong condemnation of an attack on a United Nations school in Gaza. The Israeli military requested additional ammunition to restock its dwindling supplies on July 20th, the Pentagon said. The U.S. Defense Department approved the sale just 3 days later. Oh, isn't that nice and convenient? The United States is committed. Oh, here's a quote. The United States is committed to the security of Israel and it is vital to U.S. national interest to assist Israel to develop and maintain a strong and ready self-defense capability, unquote.
Self-defense, right.
Pentagon spokesman Rear Admiral John Kirby said in a statement, quote, this defense sale is consistent with those objectives, unquote. Oh my goodness. That is absolutely incredible. Alright, so...
click the full article, I guess. From AFP.
Yeah, I got that. I just clicked it. Let's see here. 2 of the requested munitions came from little-known stockpile of ammunition stored by the U.S. military on the ground in Israel for emergency use by the Jewish state. The War Reserve Stockpile Ammunition Israel is estimated to be worth $1 billion. Wow. Oh my God. I'll take $1 billion worth of ammo. Come on. I mean, gee, Kirby stressed that those munitions had been in WRSA-1 or -I, I'm not sure what that is, WRSA-1 stocks for, quote, a few years well before the current crisis, end quote. So, let me get this straight. I'm going to break this down in the middle of this reading this. So they said that there's munitions that were worth $1 billion that have been there well before the current crisis, and now they're requesting more? So that is red flag with me. All stocks in WRSA 1, I'll just say 1, it could be I though, as required by law are, quote, in excess to U.S. requirements, unquote, he added. He also said issuing munitions from WRSA-1 stockpile was strictly a sourcing decision and White House approval was not required. Oh, isn't that nice? But Kirby did not indicate whether the White House was involved in the decision to supply the other ammunition. The decision to provide ammunition to Israel could fuel controversy, wow, do you think? Coming just as Washington expresses growing concern about the deaths of more than 103,000 Palestinians, most of them civilians and children and women, since the Israeli operation began on July 8th. Kirby said the Pentagon Chief Chuck Hagel told his Israeli counterpart that the United States was concerned about the deadly consequences of the spiraling conflict and called for a ceasefire and to end hostilities. In a telephone call with Israeli Defense Minister Moshe Yaalon, Hagel expressed, quote, the United States can continue concern about the rising number of Palestinian civilian death and loss of Israeli lives, as well as the worsening humanitarian situation in Gaza, unquote. Hagel stressed the need for humanitarian ceasefire that ends hostilities and leads to a permanent cessation of hostilities. The spokesman added, so, in other words, this is the Hegelian dialect here in action, where we say that we want the hostilities to stop in that region. Meanwhile, on the backside, we're actually supplying them with more ammunition to keep the conflict going. And this is what I hate most about these leaders, so-called leaders that we have in our running the world.
I'm not sure that's Hegelian dialectic, though.
It's not, isn't that? Wouldn't that be a problem, reaction, solution, supporting both sides?
Well, it sounds more like a contradiction to me.
Well, absolutely. But doesn't? And this is you're the perfect person to talk about this with.
Yeah, well, Hegelian dialectic I usually phrase a little different. I start with solution, because that's where the source really is. The people that are in charge have something in mind that they would like to put into place. That's their solution, right?
Yes.
And then they create a problem from which they have a reaction which they expect to be coming.
Yes.
And then after that reaction they can come up with their solution. But it really starts with the solution.
That's true, and I never, ever thought about it like that. And that's, I think, an important distinction to make. Absolutely. Because they've already got their ready-made solution at the ready.
Yep.
And so it should be solution, problem, reaction.
Yep, it's part of culture creation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And they do this by the means or the vehicle that they come to these solutions is that they support both sides of a conflict.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that falls under Hegelian dialectic, though. Hegelian dialectic is more like a psychic trick, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, funding both sides is done by the gangsters.
Yeah.
Zionist bankers.
That's right.
So.
And so they stand to profit and gain from it, though.
Yeah, they gain and profit from it. But I'm not so sure that these same Zionist bankers actually are in the planning of all of this. They just make money on it. I'm not quite sure actually who plans all this.
Yeah.
Because I'm of the opinion that we don't know. I'm like, if you are really powerful, and a lot of people will disagree with me here, because it's the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers or the other banking families of which the names currently slip me.
Yeah.
But if you were really, really powerful, you would make sure that your name never ever appears in the media.
Yeah, you would think so.
So I'm thinking that there are unknowns that really calling the shots. So.
Yeah. That's but I think that also I think with the invention of the web, the internet, that whole thing of their anonymity and wanting to remain unnamed backfired on them because of the way that information can now be spread instantly across the entire planet. I think that has they didn't foresee any of these things being talked about by the average person.
Yeah, I doubt that.
So yeah, kind of.
I really do.
Right. I think you're right about that. I
they
think they knew all too well.
Internet so that it would backfire on them. They're not stupid.
Yeah, and also I think you're right about that because I think I think
it might be more that they put it out so not only to control the masses, because a lot of people are still not tuned into the real truth tellers, so to speak, but also so that they could see which of us would step up and talk about this stuff, so that they keep an eye on us.
Bingo! Oh my gosh, I think you just totally hit the nail on the head there. And also, I think that they're at a point now, or they were at that point when they allowed the internet to come into everybody's home. I think they don't care if their name gets out there or not. I think they're at that point where it just doesn't matter anymore.
I made that argument also about our previous Queen Beatrix. She went to all these Bilderberg meetings and stuff like that,
Yes.
She works very hard, She works like 1,000 or 10,000% harder than I do, because I don't have a job.
Yeah.
So actually she's working for the agenda. And if you're really, really powerful, you let people work for you.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. So, she's still the queen then, right?
No, we've got a king now.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, she stepped down and we now have King Alexander.
Wow, so that is very interesting. I don't remember that happening. Of course, I wasn't paying attention to that.
Yeah, it's no problem.
Alexander. So
why would you care?
Well, because these are like the bloodlines that call the shots around the world.
Yeah, they're Nazi bloodlines. That's what I was wondering about when I was a child. Also, they told me that Prince Bernhard got married to the Queen. But Prince Bernhard is a known Nazi, SS Nazi. And I'm like, what the heck? And nobody cared, They were just, okay.
Right.
And I'm like, what's going on here? That's not supposed to happen.
Exactly. So, your King Alexander, is it?
Yeah, he's a son of this Nazi line, so to speak.
I see. So how is he related to Queen Beatrix?
It's his mother.
Oh, it's his mother. So she's passed the scepter down to her son now.
Yep.
How old is he? Is he a very old fellow?
Ooh, I guess he's about a little bit younger than I am, and I'm 49.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure how old he is.
Interesting. So he's going to be pretty much entrenched there for a good many years to come.
Yeah, if things don't explode, like
Right.
with the Ebola virus or whatever, you
Right.
know.
Unless he contracts Ebola.
Yes, Joe Friday is asking, wasn't she hooked up with Shell Oil? Yeah, she owns a lot of stocks, if not the majority of shares in Shell Oil.
That's right, Joe. That's a really good point. Interesting. That's very interesting. I love hearing about like the hierarchy in other countries because all these people are connected to each other. So just because it's happening somewhere else doesn't mean that you're not being affected by what's happening across the other side of the world.
Yeah, she's all the Queen Beatrix and the whole Dutch royal family is also linked to the British crown, which is German in origin. You know,
it's all the bloodlines again. We go back to the bloodlines. They're all in power, and we know here that the in their distant relative relations that the Bushes are related to the Queen, and
yeah, that's what I heard also.
So it's all in the family.
There was this one girl that had done a study on. She was in high school, and she had made this whole board with all the pictures of the presidents, and they all seem to link back to British monarchy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we know this to be true because there's a lot of genealogists that have come up with the same
Yeah, she
result.
got graded for it, and it was an A or I guess or something like that. So
well, she should have gotten a good grade for that.
Yeah,
so, absolutely. That's very, very interesting. When did that transition take place?
I'm not sure, about 1.5 years ago or so.
Oh, okay. About 6 months.
Time is not so very well kept by me. Time and names, those lack in my memory.
That's all right. There's other things to worry about in this world other than that, so I can see why. Well, it certainly is interesting, and it I don't know. So is the Netherlands part of the EU?
Yes.
Okay. So does that mean then that King Alexander?
Yeah.
What kind of if that's all part of the European Union?
Yeah.
That means that he kind of shares power then with.
Well, actually, this was signed by Queen Beatrix when she got our country into the European Union. She actually signed away the sovereignty of our country.
Yes.
All right. So, supposedly, our king has actually nothing to say about what's going on. All right.
Interesting.
But in the Constitution, he still has supposedly, again, some powers, like he can dissolve the Parliament.
Okay.
All right. Any law that is signed into law has to pass by his signature. If he doesn't sign, it's not a law.
Interesting. Okay.
All right. So we basically have a monarchy. All right. But
yes.
We are part of the EU, and the EU goes kind of above that.
So who really runs the EU? Who's calling the shots in the EU?
Well, I guess you should read something about the Nazi roots of Brussels.
Okay.
That's a PDF you will find on the internet. And because, it was Hitler's dream, right?
Yeah.
The European Union.
That's right.
So, we were ruled by a bunch of Nazis as far as I'm concerned. There is this, the way the European Union works, there is a commission.
Mm-hmm.
They get to decide what kind of laws are being proposed. It's a very small number of people. I believe it's 28. I'm not sure about that, though.
Really? That's really a small concentration.
And the rest of the people are only allowed to vote yes or no on whatever is being proposed by the committee. So this is Duma rule. This is communist rule.
Yes, because those 28 people are not duly elected. They're appointed, correct?
Yeah, I think so. We only get to vote on the people that say yes or no to any proposed law. That's correct.
I see. Okay, so boy, that's like kind of a couple of cents short of a dictatorship. It sounds
Yeah.
like to me.
Yep.
My
We do have a
goodness.
president in the European Union since I guess a couple of years ago. Also, the first one was a Belgian, and I remember this English British Parliament figure of the Freedom Party. I'm not exactly sure, the Constitution Party, something like that. Like I said, I'm very bad with names, but he's very well known in alternative circles
Okay.
because he's always shouting about what's wrong in the European Union. He has a seat there.
Oh yes.
And, yeah, last time he was really telling the people there that are working there that they're a bunch of crooks.
Yes, I know
because,
who you're talking about. Darn it.
Yeah.
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about. And I can't remember his name.
Yeah, it doesn't matter
Darn
because they were talking about tax evasion,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, "Well, you're all a bunch of tax evaders, right?
That's right.
You got these special grants given to you. You don't have to pay taxes, so you are the crooks. You are stealing from the people,
That's right. Oh,
yeah, and he
I
also
can't-
said nasty things about the president then of the European Union, like whoever heard of Rompo? I never heard of him. And he's also said like Belgium, the country doesn't even exist,
Yes.
He's got a point there,
That's right.
Belgium is like half French and half Dutch, and they got two parliaments, and the country itself doesn't seem to exist indeed.
I love that guy. And I can't remember his name. He's in Parliament. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either, because
He's
like
a
I said,
neat guy. I really like him.
yeah, he's cool, but yeah,
Very
I wouldn't trust him though.
Yeah, well, at least he's letting everybody have it whenever he can.
Yeah, but it's like Ron Paul, some people are kind of fond of him, and that's just because he says everything you want to hear. Well, that's a politician's job.
That's
To
right.
tell you what you want to hear,
That's right. Absolutely right.
So,
I wish
I don't trust any of them.
I guarantee you that when the show's over, I'll remember that guy's name.
Yeah.
It'll just come to me.
No worries.
Oh boy, yeah. It's it's good to speak out, especially if you have a congressional position, or
Yeah.
and it is just kind of like Rand Paul too. It's the same thing there. He
Yeah.
says all the good things that you want to hear, but then you go look at his voting record, and it's not so shiny. And just like you were saying, it's
I don't know, he voted against the Patriot Act, but does that really matter if he's like 4 of the 550 or so that do that?
yeah, exactly.
You can vote against. It doesn't
Sure.
matter.
Yeah, it's because
And also, I think it's like a steam valve, because the people that hear Ron Paul speak, they are thinking, oh, we got somebody that will do the job for us, and so we don't do anything ourselves,
right, absolutely. And that's why they called Ron Paul Dr. No, because he just pretty much voted no.
Voted no, yeah. That's a good thing.
It is. It's a good thing. But it doesn't do any good when everybody else is
Yeah, Del put his name in the chat.
Huh? Yeah.
Nigel Farage.
No, it's another guy.
Oh, I meant him, yeah.
Oh, you met him. Oh, okay. Well, then that's Nigel Farage. I was thinking of this other guy. I can't think of his name.
Alright, doesn't matter.
No, apparently not. He's on the Alex Jones lot being interviewed. He is on there. I think he's an MP in the British Parliament. That's all right. Now it's going to bug me.
No, don't worry about it.
Very good. Well, we only have
pick
15
up with an article?
Huh? Let's see. Yeah, let's see.
Got one here from the Gaza conflict.
Oh, you do? Yeah, we can stick on that subject.
All right.
Be fine.
Yeah, harking back to the U.S., giving them weapons. Gaza conflict, Israeli market strike kills 17. At least 17 people, and this is from the BBC.com via Blacklisted News. At least 17 people have been killed and 160 wounded in an Israeli strike that hit a fruit and vegetable market near Gaza City, Palestinian officials say. Hundreds of people were shopping in the market in Sheikh, as a spokesman for the Gaza Health Ministry said. The attack came during a 4-hour truce called by the Israeli military Hamas? What's that? I don't understand this sentence. There's a dot there. The attack came during a 4-hour truce called by the Israeli military. Hamas, which controls Gaza, really? I'm thinking like the Israelis control that, but anyway. Hamas, which controls Gaza, had rejected the truce as meaningless. Meanwhile, Israel said 3 more of its soldiers had been killed in Gaza. Yeah, really. Why don't you tell us about how many of the Palestinians died instead of these 3 soldiers of Israel who should expect to die?
Yes.
Palestinian doctors also said that another Israeli airstrike at the partial humanitarian ceasefire was announced had killed 7 people in Khan Yunis. Earlier, the UN said Israel had attacked a UN school housing refugees in Gaza, despite warnings that civilians were there. 15 people were killed and dozens hurt. Yeah, frickin' Zionists. The White House condemned the attack. Really? So why did the American person in the UN vote no? Remember that? The only one who voted no?
That's right.
The White House condemned the attack and said it was extremely concerned that Palestinians were not safe at shelters despite being told to evacuate their homes by Israel's army. More than 1,300 Palestinians and 58 Israelis have now died in the conflict. Yeah, it's not a conflict, it's a massacre, it's a genocide.
That's right, genocide.
Most of the Palestinians' deaths have been civilians. 56 Israeli soldiers have been killed along with 2 civilians. A Thai worker in Israel has also died. The Israeli military said that 3 soldiers killed on Wednesday died in a booby-trapped building. Very well done. Correspondents say that many people in Gaza were unaware the partial ceasefire had been called. Witnesses at the scene of the market strike in Sheikh spoke of smoke billowing over the site, with ambulances racing victims to hospitals. A journalist who worked for a local news agency was reported to have been killed. Ouch. One witness, Salim Kouadouam, told Associated Press, "The area now is like a bloodbath. Everyone is wounded or killed. People lost their limbs and were screaming for help. It's a massacre." That's right, it's not a conflict, it's not a war, it's genocide. The Palestinian Al-Qaeda satellite TV channel quoted Hamas spokesman Fawzi Burhan Barhoun as saying that the market attack required an earth-shattering response. Yeah. The Israeli military had said the ceasefire would last between 1500 and 1900. However, it had warned that the truce would apply only to the areas where Israeli soldiers were not currently operating. What the heck is that? That doesn't make any sense. If your soldiers are not there, then the truce is not needed, right?
That's right.
And it told residents not to return to areas they had previously been asked to evacuate. Hamas spokesman Sami Abu Zuri had rejected the truce as meaningless. The lull, which Israel announced, is media exploitation and has no value because it excludes the volatile areas along the border and won't be able to get the wounded out from those areas, he said in a statement. Sirens continue to sound in southern Israel after the ceasefire to warn of militant rocket attacks. Israel said more than 50 rockets were fired from Gaza on Wednesday. Only 50? The UN had earlier expressed outrage at the attack on the school in the Jabalia refugee camp. Spokesman Chris Gunas told the BBC that Israel had been told 17 times that the school was housing the displaced, saying the attack caused universal shame. Yeah, there are no words for what Israel is doing over there. Our language is not fit to describe what Israel is doing over there. Secretary General Ban Ki-moon later said the attack was reprehensible, unjustifiable, and demands accountability and justice. The Israeli military said in a statement that its initial inquiry suggests militants fired mortars from the vicinity of the school in Jabalia. It said soldiers had responded by firing towards the origin of the fire. Sure. Longest conflict. Israel launched its offensive in Gaza after a surge in rocket fire from the territory. The BBC's Orla Gurin was given access by the Israeli military to a tunnel they say was used by Palestinian militants. It says one of its main objectives is to destroy tunnels used by the militants to infiltrate Israel. All right, and so how many tunnels have they disabled and how many people are killed? You know, they don't say that here.
That's right.
Army spokesman Sami Turgaman said on Wednesday that this mission will be completed within a number of days. Yeah, I'm just saying that they're not mentioning how many tunnels are being disabled. You know, if you could compare that to the numbers of people being killed, right?
That's
if
right.
They don't say how many tunnels they actually disabled. So, the current conflict now, in its 23rd day, is the longest between Israel and militants from Gaza. Really? I thought this shizzle has been going on since 1948. 2012 offense lasted for 8 days, and the 2008 conflict went on for 28 days. This has been going on since 1948 due to Britain, due to London. All right, that's the end of the article.
My goodness. So they just completely bombed a school.
Yeah, UN school, as far as I know.
Well, I mean, really, honestly, I mean, it doesn't make a difference whether it's a UN school or not, but my goodness, just bombing a school, period, is just, that's reprehensible. Why? Yep. I don't know. And they claim that all they're doing is targeting military targets, and that they're just lying and lying and lying and lying. This is horrible. This is just, it's just, I don't know, everything's falling apart here. Everything. Yeah,
and what freaks me out is the fact that their ancestors had been treated the same way in Germany, and now they are doing this to these Palestinians. How is that possible, you know?
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
Wow. Yeah. They should be, everybody, Netanyahu needs to be, like, arrested right now for freaking war crimes. Hello?
Yeah.
Come on. This is like, is beyond, I'm sorry, I'm having problems with my headset here. It's beyond, I don't know why. It's just kind of like they're letting Obama get away with all of his stuff. They're just letting these leaders do whatever the hell they want. There's no consequences going on here.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They should be dealt with. Let's put it that way. But dealing with the puppets is not going to help. You know, we need to go much, much further than that.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely emphatically agree. Wow. And meanwhile, the U.S. is still supplying them with their ammo. I think that the U.S. should just stop supplying them with all their weapons and all their ammo and stuff. Then they won't be able to fire on anybody. But I
believe Britain is also supporting Israel with weapons.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just, and Lord Monckton is who I was trying to think of the name. So Christopher Monckton, that's who I was trying to think of the name. At least I found the name.
Christopher Monckton. Yeah,
Yes.
I had him on my show in the Netherlands talking about the global warming hoax.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow, so he's a really great guy then, huh?
Well, actually, at the end of the conversation, he started talking about his own political party, and that was supposed to be a world party. Hello, can you say New World Order?
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's very interesting. So that's good that it got clarified here before the show ends. Very good. World Party, huh? What does that mean?
Yeah, World Democratic Party. Go check it out. Lord Christopher Monckton.
Interesting. Well, thank you so very much, Walter, for being on with me and helping me out this week. And
no problem.
Absolutely thank everybody who's jumped in there, Maddie and Michael for helping me out this week too. It's kind of been a really bad, trying week for everybody here, I think. I don't know. I'm kind of seeing the disintegration of everything in front of our eyes. Everything's going to hell fast. And
yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow with what's his name again?
Brandon Turberville.
Brandon Topperville. Yeah, I think he's one of the most knowledgeable hosts on UCY.
I agree. He's very well researched and very well spoken. He's extremely eloquent in his relaying of thoughts and ideas, and the research is really what backs him up.
Yep.
So,
all right.
goodness.
Thanks, Wendy, for letting me on.
Thank you so much, and stay tuned for Post Ignorance with Kevin Blanche here and the rest of the shows here on UCY. Chuck Ocelli is going to be on tonight, and same with Vince, and Drew, Javen, and Chuck, and Off the Grid Journey with Drew Lamb. That's a replay too, so stay tuned, everyone, and have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Take care, people.
Thanks again, Walter.
No problem, Wendy.
Bye-bye now.
Night-night.